The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Friday, the 27th of May, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,212.75 an ounce, silver $16.22 an ounce, Texas crude $49.48 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 469 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is dedicated. In construction for over 4 years at the cost of more than $35 million at the time and spanning nearly 2 miles, the Golden Gate Bridge opening celebrations lasted for a week and began today in history. In recent news, a Greek archaeologist, Konstantinos Sismanides, believes he has discovered the tomb of the great philosopher Aristotle. Excavating the ruins of Stagira since 1990, the archaeologist told CNN that his team has strong evidence that the 2,400-year-old tomb belongs to the philosopher. The structure is about 40 miles east of Thessaloniki and is thought to have been built in honor of Aristotle's death in 322 BC. This place was named Aristotelion, and historical sources cite that locals would gather every year to celebrate the life of Aristotle. We know that Aristotle died in Chalcis, in the island of Euboea, Sismanides explained, but after some years, they took his ashes and placed them in a bronze vessel. They brought his ashes to his birthplace, the ancient city of Agora, and made an altar in a public building to celebrate Aristotle as a hero, credited with radically transforming many fields of knowledge, particularly in physics, metaphysics, and logic. Aristotle remains a hero of philosophy to this very day. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket came down for a perfect landing at sea today during the successful launch of the Thaicom-8 communications satellite. With a flight time of less than 9 minutes from liftoff until touchdown, this landing marks the third drone ship landing at sea for Elon Musk's SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. This Memorial Day weekend, we not only call remembrance to the nearly 4,000 U.S. military combat deaths in Iraq alone, but the roughly 12,000 suicide attempts by American personnel a year, half of which or more are being successful, and the terrifying estimates of 1.5 million civilian casualties in Iraq since the commencement of Operation Iraqi Freedom in March of 2003. This is Rick Rohde with your lowdown for May 27, 2016.
Good morning. It is Sunday, May 29th, 2016, here in Sydney, Australia. I'm Andrew Lucky Tree Lichtenberger, alongside Dr. Lisa Wampole, and we have Brian Musil in Austin, Texas, and a newly acquired guest. Brian, would you like to introduce our guest to everybody?
Absolutely. This is Michael. He is the founder, owner, and it's the Austin All Natural magazine. Everyone here in Austin, I'm sure you've seen this all around the city, Whole Foods, and a lot of the different events they do. So be sure to check it out. That's austinallnatural.com. So how are things going, Michael?
Well, they're going well. I just walked in the door and wound up on a radio show.
Sometimes that's the way the universe works, right?
I was actually looking for the bathroom, and I walked down the hall there, and all the bathrooms had signs that says no Chase Bank customers. And I am a Chase Bank customer, so I thought, well, that means I can't use the bathroom, even though I'm coming here. So I wound up on the radio instead. So, I mean, just
it's a very Austin experience.
It's just how the universe works sometimes. So, yeah, I'm the founder, owner, publisher, editor, sales manager, janitor, and spiritual advisor of Austin All Natural. And we're publishing our 10th 10th anniversary issue in June.
Wow, that's how many do you do every month?
Monthly.
Is that so? This is almost 120 issues, I guess. Is that
thereabouts?
Yeah,
I figured it out. I did the math the other day, and I came up with the number of issues, the number of months, the average number of articles in one that I have either written, edited, or put the paddles on and resuscitated, and it came out to around 1,800.
Wow, yeah.
So
it's a lot of work, getting a lot of information out there. It's great to hear.
Doing a monthly magazine, it's the closest I've ever come to understanding what it's like to have a period. and my girlfriend even said that I can tell when it's about the middle of the month because you start getting PMS. I said PMS. She said pre-magazine syndrome. You get all grumpy. So our first cover We came out in June of 2006, and our first cover was Willie Nelson sitting in the cab of a hot rod biodiesel pickup truck.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
And we got the picture from Kinky Friedman's campaign manager. Even better. You go to Australia, you don't have any idea what we're talking about. Well, Willie Nelson, they would.
Oh, yeah. We know. That's so funny. So when was the first issue put out then?
June of 2006.
Okay. So
this
it's
will be
going strong.
Oh, yeah. This will be the 10th anniversary issue. And there's actually a retrospective of June covers. So that Willie cover is in there in that issue.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us, why did you start the magazine? What inspired you? And what trends are you mainly focused on covering in the magazine? And how have you seen those trends change over the last 10 years?
I'm so glad you asked. I started it because my background was, I've been in Austin. I'm sure even in Australia, you've heard the "Keep Austin Weird" is sort of the municipal slogan. I have no obligation to keep Austin weird. I'm one of the people that helped make it that way. I've been here for a long time. And I actually had a martial arts school here for a long time, about 25, 30 years. Had one of those sort of, midlife, blow up your whole life, ran off to Hawaii to start an art gallery with the woman I'd met at a massage seminar in her little shop. On the big,
sounds very Austin as well.
And selling Native American art. So you see how clearly I was thinking at the time. I should have just sold.
Amazing.
Should have done surfboards in Tucson. Yeah. And spent a whole lot of time and money until one of the artists finally told me the secret to leaving Hawaii with a small fortune. I said, please, I have good artists, but he wasn't selling anything. And she said, the secret to leaving Hawaii with a small fortune is to arrive here with a large one. Thank you very much. So I came back. I went through some legal stuff over the sale of my school because I was selling it to somebody in the middle of a divorce. Another brilliant piece of judgment on my part. And when the smoke cleared, I was looking around for the first job I'd had in 25 years, and I started working for a natural health magazine, a franchise one. And they wanted me to sell for them, and I said, I'll do that, but part of my pay is I get 500 words a month to write a column on martial arts and anything I can think of. And as long as it's good, you'll run it. And they said, sure. Because it was a franchise. They send you a magazine, but you can put local content in. And so I started writing about martial arts and yoga, martial arts and fitness, martial arts and the Pope, martial arts and Wyatt Earp, Hunter Thompson. It can be done.
There's a lot of angles you could take.
Yeah. Hunter Thompson. So people would read it just to see what kind of crazy thing I'd say that month. And then I'd go around to clients and say, buy an ad and we'll do an article for you. And so I don't know how to write an article. I said, I do. Just give me the stuff and I'll write it up for you. And that's kind of how I learned to do it. They made some unwise business decisions and lost their franchise about right before June of 2006. And I thought, man, if these guys can do this, I can do this. So that's what, that's kind of what started it. We do full color glossy. We're the only magazine in Texas doing a real professional full color glossy presentation and one of the few nationwide. And obviously with Willie on the first cover, we've tried to keep it a little eclectic, keep some humor in it, have some fun with it, not be just too awfully serious with it. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm looking at the cover of your April issue. And
Amanda Sage. That's one of her pieces. That's a internationally known artist named Amanda Sage.
Okay.
Who is excellent. She actually worked with Alex Gray.
Gray.
Okay.
Yeah, not Jones, Gray, the artist, and studied with him. So that's why her work looks like it does. Our website is being renovated right now. That's why it still has the April issue on it, but it'll be up to date here soon.
Okay. And so just for our listeners, I'm sure most people have seen this magazine in Austin, actually, because I know I've picked it up many times. But so your main topics are health, spirituality, psychology. What exactly would you say are the range of things that are covered in the magazine?
The usual body, mind, spirit spectrum, health, wellness, environment. But surprisingly, and maybe not surprisingly, one of the biggest success stories as far as articles that people read and the results that my formula is that we give first precedent to clients to put their articles in. We don't turn down articles from other people, but they're on an arrangement where they get an article allowance. And it either means we'll write regular articles for them or they send them, and we have editorial standards that say no advertorials. Don't tell us how wonderful you or your product or your modality is. Make it interesting and entertaining. And mainstream practitioners doing holistic work, doing cutting edge stuff, are the ones that are really, really getting the buzz. The biggest success story lately has been a holistic dentist in Round Rock, Matt Carpenter. who's, and I just love this. I knew I had to get him in the magazine when I saw the name of his practice. It's Transcend Dental.
That is great. Yeah.
Transcend Dental Health.
That's perfect. So
yeah, you can Google Transcend Dental Health. He's working with ozone. He does intravenous vitamin C. He has an article coming out in June about how he's using CBD oil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In his practice in place of, what's the nitrous oxide?
Nitrous oxide.
The laughing gas.
Yep.
Yeah, he said that, there's people that metabolically can't process that stuff.
Sure.
And it can actually kill them.
Yes, very true. And anesthesia can be very dangerous.
Yeah. So he has been using some German homeopathic stuff, and he's just now starting to introduce CBD oil. So, he's done real well. Bioidentical hormone people have done real well. So we run the gamut, from psychics and the crystal people all the way up to dentists and doctors and MDs. There's a lot of really cool work being done. There are a lot of MDs that are, and dentists. Dentists have always been on the forefront of this.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Dentist and go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're going to say, and then I'll.
Dentists and chiropractors. This is a sneak preview because this is in an article in June. But dentists and chiropractors are the hands-on guys. They're the ones that get under the hood and start tinkering with stuff. And like a good mechanic, they use their intuition. And a lot of real cutting-edge tools have come about through chiropractic and through, Eric Pearl that does whatever it is Eric Pearl does. I can't remember now. I'll think in a minute. But dentistry, ozone therapy largely came about as a result of a work of a German dentist in the 1880s or 90s. So I think that's where you're going to see a lot of cutting-edge stuff come along. Pardon the expression.
Yep. And your dad, right, Elisa? Your dad is a dental surgeon? Yes,
he is. He's a little more old school than some because he's nearly retired now, but he recognizes that natural therapies actually work, probably because of me, being an acupuncturist and kind of opening my parents' eyes to the idea that there's something other than the Western medical paradigm. But we've had the talk about fluoride and these types of things. So he's kind of, he gets it, but he's more old school, I suppose. But yeah, I think you can teach a dog new tricks.
Oh yeah. And, of course, dentists, there's the whole mercury thing, the whole amalgam thing.
Yep, sure.
And Matt has state-of-the-art mercury removal. Not an ion of it escapes into the air, the rinse water, anything. Yeah. So, because you can get somebody just to drill it out for you, and you're just, you're setting all those gases free, and you're inhaling them.
True. Yeah.
So like you're doing a line of mercury.
Yeah.
And he has machines that capture every bit of it. And he said he was getting really, really sick, and he realized it was because of all the mercury he was exposed to in dental school. And that was his aha moment. And he found a lab that does a test and found out that there are people that are metabolically incapable of withstanding that kind of toxin. Some people can get a dose of certain toxins and be okay with it. Others can't. And he was metabolically unable to process mercury out of his system.
Wow. That's very interesting. There's one product we actually carry through the Burke Superfoods line, Zeolite. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but it helps cleanse and detox some of the heavy metals. And that's definitely, that's one thing. Would you recommend that too, Elisa? I know a lot of the patients had.
Yeah, I would. We did a lot of research when we were writing our book about ways to detoxify the body from heavy metals, and zeolite seems to be one of the best.
I've heard of it.
That and Chlorella also. But I think Chlorella is great too. I've actually seen metal come out of my earring holes from taking zeolite.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It's an aha moment.
Did you make an earring out of it? Did you take it
It was bizarre. It came out of both sides. But at first I thought my earring broke in my ear, or I got alien implants or something weird. I'm like, why do I have these things in my ear? Yeah, but it was the zeolite. So.
Wow, very cool. All right, we're coming up to our first break here. Stay tuned. More with Michael from Austin All Natural here on Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
Hello and welcome back to the show. It is Sunday, May 28th in Austin. Or sorry, Saturday, May 28th in Austin. Sunday, 5 a.m. in the morning here in Australia. We are in Sydney, coming to you live from tomorrow.
Oh no! Yeah, I actually thought I thought I'd lost a day when she said it's Sunday, May 29th.
You scared him originally.
Oh, yeah, I was like, oh my God, what did I do Saturday?
That's another very Austin.
Yeah, I hope I'm not in trouble.
How did I get here?
Was there any place I was supposed to be?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It is a little bit funny traveling around and being in different time zones all the time, I must say. It gives you a different perception on the world, actually. Just, that everybody's living their lives different at different times. Some people are asleep the whole day while we're awake somewhere else. So, just the way the world is.
I've done both of those at the same time. Slept all day. I was awake somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we do that in our dreams. I mean, when we're dreaming, maybe we're just living a life somewhere else. There's a lot of theories about that.
That would explain a lot, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like that sometimes, or maybe often.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on that. That would actually be kind of interesting.
Are we on the air right now, or are we waiting for the intro?
No, we are chit-chatting on the air right now.
Yes.
I kept waiting for the and we're back. Okay.
It's kind of, we did it kind of naturally. It's a natural transition.
That's okay. All natural. I can do that.
It's the kind of thing so is this the dream, or is in the dream reality? So are we on the air, or are we?
I'm glad I didn't tell any jokes, that probably wouldn't be appropriate or anything.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. So I was going to ask Michael, to you, because I know natural therapies and natural things back when I started acupuncture school, which was in, I want to say, the early 90s, it was still a little bit fringe, the idea of it. And I know Austin's been quote unquote weird for a long time. But yet I feel like I've seen so much more openness to the ideas of alternative medicines, spirituality, natural foods. And so I'm going to ask you, because you've really been in this thing in Austin for 10 years, interfacing with the community. How have you seen the community change since you started the magazine and until now?
Quite a bit, actually. And I was doing it even longer than that because I worked for the other magazine, and through teaching and training in martial arts is how I started finding natural healing, because that's traditional. Martial artists have always been healers.
What did you start with? What kind of martial arts?
Originally, when I was a kid in high school in Abilene, Texas,
okay,
judo, and then Shotokan, which is the classic Japanese system. Yeah. And then when I came to Austin, I couldn't find either of any of those, so I started in Kempo.
Okay,
Chinese
Kempo karate.
Yeah. Ed Parker's system, but with a Chinese, but with Chinese influence. It's an old Southern Chinese kung fu system originally. Mm-hmm. But has Japanese, Hawaiian, and American influence in it. So yeah, and in fact, my instructor was actually one of the first. And he's a round eye. He's not Chinese. And he went to a seminar, studied acupuncture, started doing some of it, and taught some of us some acupuncture and some acupressure. He was actually one of the first 10 or 12 people to be grandfathered in the state of Texas when they did the licensing.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Along with Stuart Watts, who was the founder of the Academy of Oriental Medicine at Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, he and Stuart kind of were colleagues for a while. So, you know Stuart? You ever met Stuart?
I don't know if I've met him, but
he's quite a character. He's sort of the ambassador to chaos. And he walked into my school one day, and I used to be over across the street, and I moved into this bigger place, and he walked in one day, and he was just a complete unrepentant, long-haired, bearded hippie. Like he almost didn't get his acupuncture license because he had an arrest record for spraying 2 dots on the Safeway logo on a billboard in California, so it looked like a yin yang.
Oh wow,
that's great!
Yeah. And
that's so funny.
And he's a big guy, and he told the boards. And Henry Kissinger bombed Cambodia, and he's Secretary of State. Okay, here's your license. Just go away. Just go away.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and then, from there, I went to this and that and the other. And then I teach Reiki now also.
Oh, great.
So, yeah, I'm a Reiki master teacher, and that's what I eventually came across. And to answer your question the long way around, acupuncture now, and even Reiki to a certain extent, is almost mainstream. It's almost like...
It's trendy now.
It's trendy. It's almost old hat, and that means mainstream people are more accepting of it, even in South Texas. Yeah.
Right.
Although there are, I've actually seen acupuncture sites that say like acupuncture comes from the devil. I really saw an acupuncture school in San Antonio that actually says that.
Wow.
Oh, boy. And I'm asked that from time to time, does this stuff come from the devil? And I've always just wanted to say, damn, you found us out. I guess the cat's out of the bag now. We can just take over. Yeah.
Right.
That's so funny. I've run across that too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not so much as acupuncture, but with like Tai Chi. I used to teach Tai Chi classes for many years.
Yeah, I did some Tai Chi for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you because and it's interesting, I also got into acupuncture from studying the martial arts because my Tai Chi instructor was into acupuncture. He didn't really practice it, but he kind of did, although he probably wasn't supposed to.
But that's what my teacher was doing, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Yang style or what type of Tai Chi?
Yeah, it was. It was a Yang style, but a family style. So it wasn't your traditional Yang style that you would see practiced around. In fact, I've still never seen anyone practice that same exact style.
I did Yang style for a while, and then there's a guy here in Austin that does the Wu family style.
Yeah.
And actually teaches the application. Yeah, which
cool.
which a lot of people don't do. He does the weapons forms and he does the self-defense application, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because once that chi starts to move, I mean, you know, the ki in Reiki is chi, and that's the same chi that a martial artist is moving.
Absolutely.
And then eventually you want to do something else with that. You want to externalize it. And then plus if you're teaching, I mean, China, traditionally the village Sifu, the village teacher, was the village acupuncturist, bone setter, herbalist, you know, energy guy, whatever.
Right.
And, you see a lot of people get banged up. So you want to fix them. So yeah, it's a natural progression. The old kahuna in Hawaii, that's how they learned a lot of their energetic healing tricks, was to get guys up and back in the fight, you know, because it was a warrior society. So it was like field work, you know?
Yeah.
So, Stephen Coe was a pranic healer then. You know, what happens is when something becomes mainstream, like Reiki acupuncture, people start looking for all the cool variations. And all kinds of new stuff keeps coming up, you know, and you can become a seminar junkie. Yeah, you can, you know, like in martial arts, professional martial arts, you call people a sampler. You know, they do 6 months of this, 3 months of that, you know, and then eventually become the master of their own system in, you know, a month, you know, or a year.
Yeah.
But you can do the same thing with holistic things as well. I think Reiki is a good, grounded, solid, basic system. But I did do some pranic healing with Stephen Coe. And when I interviewed him on the phone, he said, "Oh, yeah, I love working with martial artists." He said, because the moves are kind of the same. And I went to his opening intro thing, and I watched him. And he's Filipino Chinese, and he was doing all these sweeping, grabbing, and I could actually see the energy moving. Oh, well, this is cool. And he invited me to his class, and I said, "Well, I want to take that class." And it really affected what I was doing with Reiki and martial arts. He also had a pranic psychic self-defense course.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
Oh, yeah, I'm coming back for that one. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So, yeah, they're hand in hand. But to answer your question, a lot of stuff has become mainstream, and when it does, I think things have kind of plateaued now. I mean, people you can really go out of your way to come up with some kind of variation on something and introduce it as something new. Basically, it's kind of all the same thing, you know, and it's all energy.
It's like a circle that's becoming popular again, and then it kind of goes out of style and back again.
So, I mean, I tell people to take the Reiki course that I do, and we do a 2.5-day intensive. Yep. You know, you're looking at the clock. Are we coming up on a break?
Yes, we are. Coming up to a break here, so stay tuned. More with Michael here after the break.
Please scan your next item. That annoying mechanical voice from the self-checkout lane may soon be silenced for good. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll have great news on the death of computerized cashiers next.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Apparently, I'm not the only one who hates the self-serve check stands at stores. After a decade of trying them, retailers are finally acknowledging studies that say shoppers would rather dodge the self-serve lane and head for a human cashier. Today, just 16% of grocery store transactions go through self-checkout lanes. That's down from a high of 22% 3 years ago. Shoppers say they're more satisfied when they pay people, not cold computers. In response, grocery chains like Big Y and Albertsons plan to bag the do-it-yourself option and bring back customer service. Hooray! Now, if only they dump the membership cards. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Welcome back to Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior. This is Ryan Metzel. It's Saturday, May 28th, 2:33 p.m. here in good old Austin, Texas. My guest friends and fellow spiritual warriors, Dr. Lisa Wampool and Andrew Lucky Chewy Lichtenberger, are in Sydney right now, where I believe it is Sunday at 5:34 a.m. And in the studio here, a wonderful guest, Michael of Austin All Natural. And I wanted to let everyone know, Michael, if someone wanted to contact you about advertising in your magazine or distribution, all that, what would be the best contact for them to get in touch with you?
They can, if they're here, I can give you the phone number, 512-879-7299. That's 512-879-7299. Call today. Offer expire.
Beautiful. Or the AustinAllNatural.com.
AustinAllNatural.com. I mean, and my contact information is on the table of contents page next to my smiling face. Yeah. And then my email is it's Michael Abedin, A, B as in boy, E, D David, I, N Nancy at yahoo.com.
Okay.
I used to tell people it's just my name at yahoo.com, and somebody says M-Y-N-A.
Too many different spellings now. Yeah.
No, not my name at, it's my name at.
Yeah. And then before the break, we were talking a little bit about the Reiki and some of the Tai Chi. And I had an interesting question here. I've definitely gotten more into the community here. And, every other weekend, get together, there's always some Woodstock-like parties going on all over town. And it's funny because every week I run into, some girl or some guy who tells me they're, this Reiki master and, doing all this stuff. And I can tell very easily that they really don't have very much, chi or prana energy or all that. And everyone suddenly is popping up out of nowhere. So I guess what would you suggest to people actually interested in this path? Because I have more of the martial arts, acupuncture, and I understand the process of, you can't heal others unless you're healed yourself. And so the people telling me these things, I look at them very quickly and understand that no, I don't think you're at that level because, I would be able to actually see what level of cultivation you've achieved and you're not there. And I've noticed that in Austin, there's a lot of this popping up, maybe due to the popularity and the trending as you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, a lot of wannabes. Yeah, and as far as Reiki goes, just take it with me. You'll be fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you see that. And, in one respect, so the very quick story of how it's created was a man named Mikao Sui who went up on a mountaintop and had this big epiphanous experience after a 21-day fast and meditation and, knocked him on his ass, and he came down and discovered he could put hands on people and healing would occur. And then he realized he could teach other people. Then he realized he could actually transmit that ability. It was like an attunement or entrainment.
Entrainment, exactly.
And it came to this country in the 70s, and then it was immediately turned into different levels, degrees with different price points and different periods of time, which was really expensive. It was like $10,000 for master level. And I studied with somebody who came through a branch of his lineage, directly through his lineage. I'm 8th generation from Mikao Sui. They said, it shouldn't cost this much. It doesn't take that long. He didn't even use degrees. So they came up with this 2.5-day format and reintroduced a lot of the old Taoist and Tibetan and esoteric Buddhist stuff back into it that had been sanitized out of it. Because the Reiki Alliance started in this country in the 1980s. And, if you remember, I always say, if you remember, and a lot of people look at me like, no, I wasn't born then. But that was the Reagan era. So this was very conservative. So, okay, we've got this thing that this guy who was, and Sui has quite a history. He was like a shamanic practitioner. He was a martial artist. He studied Aikijutsu, the precursor to Aikido. He was born into a samurai family and a very famous one. So, we've got this guy that went up on a mountain and he did the shamanic thing and he came down. He was into Tantra and Tibetan Buddhism. And wait, where are you going? So they made him a Christian, brought him to this country. Said he forsook his Buddhist ways and came up with this whole backstory that come to find out is partially true, but was kind of a laundered version of it. So back to your question. Yeah, you have to use your gut. You find the teacher and the techniques that are right for you. On the one hand, I can say, there are a lot of wannabes. On the other hand, people say, well, then how come you do it in 2.5 days? So I kind of put it out there that the people that are ready to do it in that period of time are the ones that are going to see the ad in the magazine, the ones that are going to find me. I even put it out there on the causal plane, find me, call this number. And people will say, I saw that ad for months. And all of a sudden I looked at it this month and went, I need to call him. Mm-hmm. So
when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
That's
what one of my teachers told me.
And, the unhealed healer or, the unhealthy healer, it really is becoming a stereotype. And, you have to look. I mean, it's kind of like if your life coach is in the middle of a divorce and, it doesn't make, if your psychic cancels the appointment because something came up, You know,
That's great.
Oh, I'm sorry. Something came up I wasn't expecting. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, you're my psychic. Yeah. Then yeah, you know, if your aerobics teacher comes in and they're obese and smoking a cigarette, you know, I mean, all of these are clues.
If your yoga teacher has a hurt back, you know, and I understand that people are obviously in the process of healing different things, and you give them credit, but you know, you're right. There is a certain leeway where you're kind of like, okay, come on now, really.
And to a degree, you can say you need to be healthy to be healed. You need to be at the highest level of health that you can and increasing it to do it. Now, technically, you're not healing anybody. You know, so, and I tell this right off the bat to people in Reiki classes. You're not healing anybody. You're not healing anybody. You're not healing anybody. You're just an antenna. This attunement that we're going to do is going to bring down a high level of Ki is Chi, life force energy. Ray is universal. A high level of life force energy. And then you're just going to let it transmit from you to somebody else. And then it's up to them to do what they're ready to do with it. And you even tell people that before the treatment. I'm giving you this, but, you know, you're using it here. Because, you know, thinking that you're the healer, you can get caught up in that.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of those, the universal tap you on the shour and, you know, eventually kick you in the ass.
Right.
So, yeah. And, you know, you use your instincts. Joe Vitale, you guys know Joe Vitale in The Secret?
Yep.
Yes.
You know, lives here in Wimberley. He actually has been in the magazine since the first year, has become a good friend. He took the course. And he came up to me at lunch and he said, I have a confession. I was going to say I have a secret. And he said, this wasn't my idea, it was my wife's idea, but I'm having a ball. He said, I like the way you teach the course. You know, you keep it light. You tell stories about how it relates to martial arts. He said, I've had a lot of people that have wanted me to do this with them, but they've all been, I said, like, you know, River, Moonbeam, Aquarian, Lightworker, Star Chaser, Unicorn. He said, yeah, kind of flaky. I said, no. I said, I teach down to earth, grounded. I had somebody say, you teach black belt Reiki. You know, you take what you do seriously without taking yourself too seriously. So yeah, I tell jokes in the course. I mean, my class is taught largely like this interview, but at the same time, you get the crux of it. And I just tell people, if God had wanted you to have a Reiki teacher that would float in white robes and be your guru, he, she, it, whatever, wouldn't have sent you to me. But I mean, you know, I'm going to show up with boots and long hair and, you know, I had a beer the night before, you know, so, but I'm teaching the class. I know what I'm doing here. I'm a professional. And there are people for whom the perfect teacher is somebody that floats in white robes, and those people will find their teacher as well. So there's no wrong way to do it, I guess. You know, I went through this with martial arts because the same thing happens in martial arts. You think there's semi-skilled healers out there.
Yes.
Right.
I agree.
So I would just tell people, you know, it's all good. I'm happy to hear what you've learned before. Leave it all at the door and we're going to start over. And I think Reiki is a good, grounded, solid foundation system. Then if you want to flit off and learn, you know, left-handed cosmic healing from Neptune, you know, with a twist of lemon on the side, you can run off and do that, but you still got that Reiki
true.
Keeping you on
that base,
keeping you grounded. Yeah. I also tell people, if you start adding all these modalities, somebody asked me once, can you do a Reiki treatment? My Reiki person is out of town. I said, sure. I said, you know what the favorite part of the treatment is for me? I said, what's that? She says, the psychic reading at the end. I said, well, there's no psychic reading. It's, oh, yeah, there is. My Reiki, I said, no, that's not a Reiki. That's a Reiki treatment and a psychic reading.
All right, coming to a quick break here. Stay tuned. More after the...
Easy.
Descends to the earth, a time where the mind is defined and confined. We the people need to realign with the divine. A government for the people, by the people realigns. No more taxation without representation. It's time for the people to have their say. No longer the prey. Aligned with truth, there's nothing we cannot do. Divide and conquer lies and false promises. These are the archonic weapons of hurtful decay. The abundance of the earth is the perfect technology, and the golden age is now. Rise together as one in peace and prosperity. Are hacking the bio-internet, and the false light is blinding. Plugging into intuition, balance is restored, drawing from love. Fighting for freedom and liberty keeps the unity in the community. We have becoming better, refining the mind. Accepting divine impunity, we rise as one in unity. Life is a circle, life is eternal. The ancient wisdom opens the way. Together, we are the generation of the golden age. Hello, everybody. We're back on the air. This is Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior. I'm Andrew Lucky Tree Lichtenberger, coming to you live from Sydney, Australia, alongside Dr. Lisa Wampole. In the studio in Austin, Texas, we have Ryan Mutzel. and our fascinating, lovely guest, Michael Abedin. And Michael, I really appreciate your stories and your anecdotes, because I can tell that they're very honest and real, and it's fascinating to me to hear your experiences, just generally in your life in Austin, and that you've had putting your magazine together. So thank you very much. And,
yes, I've done several lives in this body already. So
it does feel like that.
It does feel like that sometimes. So, you were telling us a great story over the break. I would love to have you retell that one, because we were just here rolling in the studio.
Let me clear my throat here. Well, yeah, I was talking about, there's no psychic reading at the end of Reiki. If you're going to do that, call it Reiki with a psychic reading. But the best one was, I had a woman call me up and say, our Reiki person is out of town. My husband and I would like a treatment. Would you come out to our house? And I said, well, I charge a little extra. And she said, yeah, no problem. So I get there, I'm setting the table up, and I said, who's going to go first? And she said, I am. I said, okay. So, I turn around, she comes out of the back, and she's wearing a robe, and I said, well, okay, hop on up. And she starts to take off the robe, and she's butt naked. Wait, what are you doing? And she said, well, I'm taking my clothes. You don't take your clothes off to do a Reiki treatment. And she said, our other Reiki person has us do that. And I went, I don't know what they're up to, but she said, can I leave the robe on? And I said, yeah. And she seemed a little disappointed, And all I could think was, thank God she went first and not him. So, I tell people in the class, don't do naked Reiki.
Yeah.
That could be a new trend here. Interesting.
Yeah, it could be.
That would get some people. I definitely know some people who would be very interested in that.
Naked Reiki with a twist. Yeah. I was actually going to invent a martial arts once, because there was so much strange stuff, Krav Maga, this, and the more exotic it was, I was going to come up with something like from, the Afghani hill tribes, or I actually saw, honest to God, a school that was advertising the fighting style of the Klingon warrior.
Oh my gosh.
And another one with a guy in a dashiki and an afro spinning somebody, and it was the West African hill tribe. So I was trying to come up with something. I thought, no one's ever beaten the Afghans. And then, maybe do it naked Afghani Kempo with, whatever. But yeah, I tell you, if you're going to do all of that, that's fine. Just call it that. And take down your certificate that has my name on it.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, you can get to the point where it's no longer Reiki. Now, you go do these other things like pranic, the juju is there, but you're not mixing technique. Does that make sense? You're still running that in. You might put a little extra technique into it, but at some point, I'm a traditionalist kind of. I'm kind of a purist, and I kind of like to stick with the basics. Not just martial arts. It's the basics. If you don't have the basics down, nothing else you're learning in a martial art, no matter how fancy, is going to be any good to you. If you've got the basics down, then all the fancy stuff you're doing for fun, because it's the basics.
It's true. Yeah.
It's the basics.
I was saying that last week. It's the same. It's always the basics. What comes down to someone who's, I think it really differentiates who's a good practitioner of whatever martial art or holistic modality. If they can get their basics down, they're usually pretty good.
Yep. My instructor did a seminar with Ed Parker, who was the grandmaster of the American version of it, the first one that we'd done in our branch of the association. And he came back, and we were all like, What'd you learn? He said, inward blocks. What? Said, I never knew there was so much to know about an inward block. Yeah. Yeah. So it's all basics. Yeah. But yeah, you can, go out there, play around, have fun with what you're doing. And you know what? If you're a healer, stay healthy. Now, when you do a Reiki treatment, you get a Reiki treatment because the energy's coming through you. So the more of it you do, the healthier you are. And you can do treatments on yourself. In fact, the woman who was initially the person that brought it over this country, Mrs. Takata, was once asked, what do you need to do to be a Reiki master? And she said, do a self-treatment, treatment on yourself every day. So because you hear master and you think someone who knows everything there is to know, someone really, there's an older version of the term, and it comes from like the same Latin as matrice, the womb. And it means like the original thing, like a master text that has all the information about, or a master key.
Like the source code.
Yeah, exactly. Or, back when we'd be sitting around with reel-to-reel tape in a radio studio, the master tape, the one that's the closest to the original performance that you make the dubs from. So to me, being a Reiki master means you are just running that energy to be the closest thing to that divine healing energy you can be in this plane, and then just bring that to the highest level. So, and then you just transmit that. Like I said, it's an entrainment. You hit a tuning fork and put it on the table will start to vibrate at the same frequency. That's what a Reiki attunement or a Reiki treatment is. So, and you can do all kinds of miraculous things with it. So
you can. And often I think about this, whether it's, it's hard to differentiate sometimes in my mind, because Qigong and Tai Chi and Reiki it's all using, that same idea of grounding yourself and tapping into an energy. And it's almost like it's just there. You have to just allow it to come through. And you can once you can tap into that flow, it's like you can use it for anything you want, hopefully all good things. But when you're in that flow, it's just like you're creating this magic in whatever aspect of your life it is, whether you're wanting to heal someone, whether you're wanting to make someone's day better, bring happiness to people around you, create a flow through the traffic. I mean, it's really cool, but it's like when you're in that flow, you can channel that energy for anything, which is why I love that healing art.
Especially if you get out of the way. I mean, I'm not sure if we were on the air or not when I was talking about how I was going to go do 2 or 3 other things, and stopped and went, no, I need to go over there and talk to Gary, and then go down and talk to John, and walked in and said, hey, you want to be on the radio? So, I mean, that's how it works.
We weren't on the air when we were talking about that.
Okay, actually. I mean, I had 2 or 3 other things to do, and I thought, well, I could do them in this order because I was right by one of the places. And I thought, no, I ought to go over there and talk to those guys first. And I actually even turned around to take a shorter route because they were, I know this is hard to believe, but there was construction going on South Lamar.
In Austin? Near UC? What? Building stuff?
And so I swung around and came kind of the back way and, went up and talked to Gary for a while and then walked in, minutes to airtime?
Yep, exactly.
So, that's how it happens. You put the juju out there and you follow it. You let it lead you.
Yep.
And, all your guides, protectors, your whatever it is, you don't listen, they'll just laugh, and go, okay, well,
we tried. Too bad.
We tried. We'll try again. We'll try again. That's funny because I get a lot of calls from people that tell me that they want to do a show, an expo, a center, and it's their guides that told them to.
Of course.
And not all of them really have the hands-on experience, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But I finally came to the conclusion that somewhere on the causal plane, astral plane, there's like this group of hoodlum spirit guys, and they're sitting around playing poker and drinking beer and smoking cigars. And one of them goes, I'm going to get up and get a beer and take a pee. You want anything? So, give me a beer. And, hey, while you're up, channel somebody the idea to do a center and an expo. And they all laugh. Go back to playing cards or whatever. So, I mean, the thing about channeling, is if you're not channeling directly from the stuff, the sort. Just because they're dead doesn't mean they're smart,
Yeah.
Or have good intentions. Yeah. So, I see it all the time. It's kind of like, would you like to come to? I said, no, I don't think so. I become very circumspect about who I'll let work on me. Because people are all the time wanting to, hey man, let me do my modality on you. Mm-hmm. Thinking, and if you really like it, you'll give me something extra in the magazine and start referring to me. And what they don't think is, well, what if I don't?
And then,
then what am I going to do? Yeah. So I actually had something like that happen once, but actually more than once. So yeah, but as far as the flow through Austin traffic that you mentioned earlier, that's an advanced seminar.
That would be.
That's one that I'm, I know it's there, and the person that comes up with it is going to be really wealthy as far as the way to get from point A to point B. So, that's the big change in Austin, really. And really, it's because back in the 70s, we really resisted growth and development. Mm-hmm. We were fighting for Barton Springs and all the different things. So as a result, it didn't stop it. It just slowed it down enough that we never built the infrastructure. So now we're stuck with a big square. I-35, Mopac on one side, 183 and 71 on the other, and it's up for grabs in between.
Yeah, very true. All right, everyone, we're coming up to our big break here at the hour. We have more with Michael from Austin All Natural. Stay tuned here on Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior.
Oh
Welcome back to Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior. Beautiful day here in Austin, Texas, and also plugging in to Sydney, Australia. Wonderful guest, Michael here. And before the break, Michael, we were talking a little bit about how much we all love Austin traffic and how that has changed over the years. So
just can't live without it, because you can't live with. How's that go? I don't know. Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, we gridlocked ourselves, and we shoot down light rail, we shoot down this, we shoot down the other. The ride sharing people throw a tantrum and leave town. I mean, so bye bye. And Austin's just gotten so horrendously big that it's really kind of bad for local businesses because you can't get to them. You're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck in your area, and
that is true.
This urban model is being created of, well, you can stay within your area, and you can, which pretty much means developers say that, meaning you can walk downstairs from the condo we sell you to the people that we're renting commercial space to downstairs and never leave.
It feels like a casino. This is what I felt like in Vegas when they're building all these casinos in the roads and they're trying to get people so they can't leave the properties almost.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing here. You're right, in these little towns.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny you should put it that way on casino, because somebody asked me something about downtown Austin. I said, if you've been here long enough, going to downtown Austin now is kind of like running into your ex-girlfriend and she's become a high-dollar hooker, and she doesn't want to talk to you anymore because she's with her new friends.
Who are paying her well.
Who are paying her well, yeah. So, it's just, gosh, you turn around. We actually did an issue a couple of years ago where when Godzilla came out, we did one called Armazilla. It had an armadillo like sticking a snout into some condos down by the Frost Bank building, and the backstory was that fracking had created a hole in the Balcones fault, and radiation hit him, and he grew to enormous size and went lumbering down Barton Springs looking for his ancestral home, the Armadillo World headquarters, and it was gone. And then he saw all the condos and thought, food. And actually, I'm reprinting one article that I did. 2009 probably, called Keep Austin, period.
Keep Austin, Austin.
Just keep Austin, period. Yeah, not keep it weird. It may be too late for that. Austin's really not that weird anymore. Stunned silence. I could feel it across the airwaves.
I think there are some definitely small pockets and communities within it.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely some cool groups that I hang out with that are kind of keeping it on their own.
Yeah.
But it's not something you could come here and be a tourist and you would really never get to see, I think what Austin truly was or, can be.
Yeah. I mean, you could do a tour of Austin. That's where the Armadillo headquarters used to be. That's where Liberty Lunch used to be. That's where, a bank building, city hall. How interesting. But weirdness, Keep Austin Weird kind of got co-opted. It's become a slogan, a bumper sticker, a T-shirt thing now. And true weirdness is its own reward. If you're really weird, you don't think you're weird. You think you're normal. You think everybody else is weird.
That is definitely accurate.
That is very true.
And I mean, late 60s, when I came here, 70s, you just sort of walk around and weirdness would find you. You didn't have to go out looking for it. It was just sort of there. And you didn't think anything about it because that was just Tuesday, or Friday or Saturday or whatever it was. But Brave New Books, places like that. These are kind of like the outpost on the frontier, so to speak. Well, no, that's probably not because that's the forts. That's the people that come in. This is like the last Indian camps. The last Indian villages on the frontier are all here. So I love it that we're literally underground.
We are.
We're down there. And I love it that we're below the Chase Bank building. And someday I want to come over here and start pulling tiles off the drop ceiling.
Where is that vault at?
So maybe we can find one of those little limber guys like they had in Ocean's 11 or
Ocean's
whatever.
11, that was great.
Acrobat guy that can go in there, get past the lasers. So it's changed a lot. Jon Stewart. And really, as you can probably tell, what I'd really like to be is sort of the first holistic metaphysical stand-up comedian.
I think there's room for that.
I think
Absolutely.
there is. But Jon Stewart had a film at the Austin Film Festival a couple of years ago, and the press that publishes our magazine does their material and gives us passes. And I found out he was doing a show here at Zach Scott Theater.
Okay,
live. And I called Zach because I have a good relationship. I review their shows, and they said, "Sorry, it's all Comedy Central." So, but here's the cell number. So I called the woman and said, I just don't think so. But I got your number. She calls me the next day and said, be here Wednesday at 3:00. I have you 2 VIP tickets.
Oh, wow.
VIP means you stood in line inside, rather than outside for 2 hours.
That's the new meaning of VIP, I guess.
For 2 hours, yeah.
Wow.
And Comedy Central had just taken the place over. It was a very efficient little Oriental woman go, sit here, put your cell phone down, don't do this, don't do that, don't stand up. And there were giant, black guys with earphones in glaring at you like, you don't want to do that, man. Do exactly what she says.
Yeah.
And they have the comic that comes out, and then Stewart comes out and does a little thing ahead of time, and talks to people. And I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that all of his correspondents were in front of a green screen. I didn't know they were arm's length from him on the stage.
Oh.
So he had Samantha Bee and somebody else are all out there. She was in a kayak paddling down Town Lake, Ladybird Lake, the river. And there were guys underneath holding it and moving it like she was paddling. And he had one guy off to the side saying, well, John, the big issue here in Texas these days is immigration. And here in Austin, he said, wait. You got an Austin skyline behind you. Austin doesn't have a border with Mexico. And he said, no, John, the border between Austin and everywhere else. And Stewart said,
true.
You're right. He said, I keep hearing people say, oh, man, all these new people are ruining the place. I mean, like I got here a year ago.
Funny.
And Stewart said, they're right. I just got here on Sunday. And it's nothing like it was on Saturday.
Changing that much, yeah.
Pretty much. I miss him. We need him now. So,
I noticed a lot of people still, going to Austin from, let's say, Las Vegas or most places, I still do notice the weird aspect. Again, like not really weird, but maybe it's just because weird has become so much more normal that it doesn't appear weird anymore. And so then you have to like increase the weirdness factor in order to actually have it be standing out as weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said at the beginning of the show. I did my part. I helped make it weird. Let's get some other people out here making it weird. Not keeping it, but making it weird. Thank you. I mean, the live music scene here is really sort of plateaued towards the end of the late 70s. It's been cruising for a long time. It's still good, and it's still better than everywhere else. And that's the thing. We got spoiled here. A lot of good musicians, local ones here, can't make it. They have to go to Europe or somewhere else because people here are just so inundated. They take it for granted. And the same things happen with healing people. I get people that show up and they want to advertise in the magazine, just came here from California or something, and they thought that they thought they'd found the Elysian fields. They thought they'd found waves of plenty because it's Austin. And come to find out, they're not making the kind of living they once did. For one thing, people don't want to pay the prices they're used to getting. And for another thing, there's just so many people around. We have one of the top acupuncture schools and one of the top massage schools, Aylma and Washington Conway in the nation.
Yeah.
So, at some point, you're just going to wind up doing massages and acupuncture on each other, unless you can get other people in there.
Yeah.
But
I did notice that there are people here, what is interesting, and I think one reason I think we will be very successful with a lot of things we're doing is people are searching for that next level.
Yeah.
And there's not that many people providing, that next level of health. I think that these people are looking for. And I think there's definitely something to that, whether it's, martial arts or Tai Chi or the yoga or the acupuncture. And I think there's a lot of people that are doing a good enough job that people see results. But again, there's no limit to health. So if you can bring in some of these, great, masters and really get people to that next level, I think people are very, very interested in that here.
Yep. And a good teacher, a good martial arts person or something, I mean, even being in the person's presence, you get that energetic thing. It's caught rather than taught.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. And you may not leave that seminar or that class knowing all the technique exactly. Now, you leave my Reiki class knowing everything you need to know because we go through it step by step. But I mean, I go to seminars with my instructors from time to time, and I may not remember the technique, but just being there, just being in their energy field, being in the vibe, it recharges you, gets you inspired, man. So inspiration's a large part of it. So in the spirit of wanting to be the first stand-up comedian, I have a sort of a spiritual, holistic traffic joke.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, you've heard your parking angels. You're asking your parking angels.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I talk to them all the time.
I do that.
Oh, yeah. So this guy's driving around looking for a parking place. He's hideously late for a really important appointment. And he's going, he can't find a parking place anywhere. He says, God, just find me a parking place right now. I'll quit drinking. I'll quit cheating on my wife. I'll start going to church on Sunday. He looks up, there's a parking place. Whoop, nope, never mind. Just found one.
Oh, no. Just kidding. That is so
great. Yeah.
So I was actually asked to speak at the Austin Holistic Chamber of Commerce, their first thing, and the woman said, tell some jokes. And I said, I don't really know very many holistic or metaphysical jokes, and the ones I know aren't very funny, and I told them to her, and she seemed to agree. So yeah, I've been really working on
coming up with the material. Yeah, not too mainstream. That's true. They're not doing that.
You know, it's tough. Like, how many holistic practitioners does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know how many.
Just one. But the light bulb really has to be ready to change.
That's awesome. Thanks, Michael. More after the break here.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Hello, and welcome back to Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior. Michael, I had a question for you.
Sure.
With regards to the Reiki, we've been talking a lot about Reiki energy and tapping into that flow of energy and the idea that when the master walks in the room, it's like you're absorbing that energy from them, and you kind of walk away with something and you don't quite know what, but you just feel energized. And I wanted to ask you about Reiki and also martial arts, because I know in martial arts too, a lot of internal arts, specifically like Tai Chi, require you to tap into that grounded energy flow.
Right.
What do you like to practice, or what would you recommend for people who want to cultivate their energy, to become better, let's say healers or practitioners of whatever martial art? Are there practices that you do every day or that you would recommend?
Yeah, there are. And I kind of have my own little routine that I do. I mean, I sort of get up in the morning, and after I splash some water on my face, I usually do a quick Reiki self-treatment. I have a little yoga routine that I do, a little quick meditation. And then I have another, what I call meditation. And somebody's, my girlfriend once said, are you really meditating? I said, no, I call it sort of putting on my Michael suit, before I go out into the world, kind of get everybody in and get everything straightened up and cleared up. I'm not teaching professionally. I still have a couple of my students. I'm all black belts I get together with, but I still work out. I still train every day, and I do basics. I mean, I do the short forms, the original ones, the base forms. And, so yeah, I have my own routine. I mean, as far as what one thing can people do, that's kind of a tough one. Take my Reiki class. They could do that.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good start.
June 24th. We have one June 24th through 26th.
And where's that located at?
People's Pharmacy South on South Lamar.
Okay.
Do one at the meeting room. And there's an ad in the magazine, or they can just call that number that I gave you, because 512-879-7299. That's 512-879-7299. I like to talk to people, a little bit, to sign them up. I think probably the thing to do is, here's the best tip. Whatever you do it a little at a time. Don't try to change your whole life tomorrow. If you suddenly change your diet or every routine, for one thing, you can get sick. And for another thing, you get discouraged.
Yeah.
So, I just got some nascent iodine from Gary downstairs, and he said, take a couple of drops the first day. And he said, it's going to taste awful, and a couple the second. So, and then experiment, find what you like, and then stick with it. Because what you find is any practice that you do, whether it's martial arts, Reiki, whatever, the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the less time it takes you, because you're not thinking about it anymore. At that point, it then becomes part of your cellular structure, part of your muscle memory. And the phenomenon the syndrome in martial arts is when you first learn a form exercise, it seems like it takes you forever to do it. But then after you've been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, then it just flows.
Right. You're not even thinking about it.
Yeah. And you can't not do it. And you find, I can do a decent workout to keep me in pretty good shape in 15 minutes. Less if I have to. If I'm working on a deadline run for the magazine, then if I stop and work out for 5 or 10 minutes even, then I'm better. But the trick is just to do it. Do it daily, whatever you pick, whether it's breathing exercises, whether it's meditation, yoga, or Reiki treatment, martial arts. Do some part of it every day. And ideally set a time when you can do it. But do it. Where a lot of people fail is they'll come to these classes, and then afterwards they don't stick with it. I shouldn't say fail, because a lot of people get what they need just by being there. May never do a Reiki treatment. But they'll come to a martial arts class. They don't go home. They don't practice. They come in and, they remember some of it, but they start again. So whatever you do, whatever practice you pick, you remember practice is a noun, but it's also a verb. Practice.
Yes.
Keep doing it. And you discover more about it. Who knew there was so much about an inward block? Yeah. You find little things in your basics. I actually had some old injuries that came up, and I had to go. Found a really good massage guy that's working with me on it, and had some other stuff come up, and I had to just stop and go back and start doing my stuff all over slowly again, and discovered in the process, I got nuances. And I had this massage guy saying, you've been beat up a lot, and you've actually detoured capillary and nervous system, pathways to compensate. And now, the grackles are coming home to roost in the H-E-B parking lot. That's not going to make any sense in Australia.
No.
The chicken's coming home to roost.
Okay.
Grackles are these ugly loud birds that make a crack noise, and they sit in the parking lot of the local grocery stores and poop all over your car.
I heard one of those on the way over here today. Yes,
yeah.
Very loud.
They used to be the official bird of Austin. Now it's the construction crane. Is the official bird of Austin. So, but yeah, pick it, do it, and then work from that as your base and play with it from there. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I was just waiting.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Well, what I was going to say is a lot of the time people have this intention of doing some kind of practice, whatever it is, whether it's an exercise, whether it's daily meditation or Qigong or Tai Chi or whatever it is. And I always recommend, because people, when I used to teach Tai Chi, they say, I want to practice every day, but I can't stick to it. And I just tell them, just do 5 minutes. That's all. Just do 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes will eventually turn into 10, into 20. And when you feel like it, it'll be 30 or an hour. But if you try to jump in and do an hour every day to cultivate your chi, it's just going to be overwhelming and it's not going to be fun. Yeah. And it's like a chore, and that's not the idea. Yeah. Just do your little 5 minutes. Even if especially if you don't feel like doing it, Mm-hmm.
That's when you need to really do it. And there have been times in my life when the only thing I knew for 100% certainty and all the chaos going around me is if I picked my knee up, pointed it to the front, and snapped my foot out and back, that's a front kick. And that was a good place to stand at the time. Okay, I can work from there.
Yeah.
So, that's how much a part of what you do you want it to be. I started telling people when they call about Reiki classes and they say, well, I'm kind of busy, I can do the next one. I've just started telling them you probably won't.
Yeah.
You'll put it off for the same reason. Yeah. So are you looking breakish?
No, we have some time, but I know this is the last segment.
Maybe I can come back. But the samurai had a phrase called Isagiyoku, which means without hesitation.
Okay.
It means when you make a decision, move. Because if you hesitate when a sword is coming down at your head, well, you're dead.
That's
true.
And that comes from that one martial art with the stick, I think, right?
Kendo.
Kendo, yeah.
Kendo is how samurai train before they use
with the stick, where it's like whoever flinches first eventually loses because the other person's going to get you. Really, if you hesitate. Yeah,
exactly. And when it's a live blade and you hesitate, so the thing is to move with that much force and power, in everything that you do, put that energy, put Reiki. Once you learn Reiki, there are symbols that you can use that you make with your hand that transmit the energy. You just become like the Johnny Appleseed of Reiki and just drop symbols all over the place and get all that energy around you all over the place. Yeah, and then watch and see what happens. But it's a tricky thing because sometimes when you rise to that high level, you find there's some things that used to be pretty valuable to you that aren't quite having the same buzz that they used to.
Yeah, that's true.
You can wind up raising your and I tell people you're raising your energetic level. It's new
territory.
It's new wine and old skins sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to be ready to change your energy pattern and be ready for what comes because the energy's moving fast now. And be adaptable. Somebody asked, well, let's see. Is this really relevant? Should I do that or do a joke? I'll come back and do the joke. Somebody asked Wyatt Earp once, the famous marshal.
Yep.
What was because he lived well into the 30s and was an advisor on a lot of early westerns. And some movie producer said, well, Wyatt, what's the main number one thing that you have to remember in a gunfight to survive? And he said, take your time in a hurry.
Take your time in a hurry. Yeah, I love that. That is great advice.
That's kind of the way I like to get the stuff down that you're good at.
Yeah, more here. We'll get Michael.
Everyone knows that walking is great exercise, but you might not know that the way you walk could predict how long you're going to live. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back to tell you more about walking prognostication in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
New research shows how fast you walk could predict how long you're going to live. The Journal of the American Medical Association reports that older adults who walk 1 meter per second or faster live longer than expected. In case you're wondering, 1 meter per second is about 2.25 miles per hour. A senior's age, gender, and walking speed were as good at predicting life expectancy as more traditional statistical measures. Generally speaking, faster walkers live longer. Measuring walking speed is quick and inexpensive. It only takes a stopwatch, some space to walk, and a few minutes. Researchers say it could help doctors identify older patients who need special care. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Chemtrails.
Live Free Speech Radio, LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is Nourishment Towards Spiritual Warrior. And we've been chatting today with our lovely guest, Michael Abedin from Austin All Natural. And we were chatting earlier a bit about Reiki and other spiritual practices. And I just wanted to share an anecdote. I have a friend of mine does massage and was certified in Reiki. And she told me that as she goes about her day, her instructor recommended that she does Reiki on the trees around her that she walks by. And I just wanted to see if, Michael, you had anything to share.
Trees, plants, animals. See, because they haven't learned that this isn't supposed to work. And it's an energetic. Animals love it. They eat it up.
Yeah.
They're some of the best treatments I've ever been. And they know exactly when they've had enough. They'll get up and walk away and say, wait, I'm not finished. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Your food. Like they don't have a they have no, they don't have a filter. It's like this. Okay, got it. That's what I want. On my way. Thanks.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Do it on your food. You can take some of Austin's kind of skanky, sometimes tastes like, frogs, tap water, taste it, and then do Reiki symbols on it and taste it again. And you can actually notice the difference.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I used to. And, you kind of have to be subtle. There's a hilarious video that there's some guy, I can't think of his name, is, how to be holistic and spiritual. He also has one called How to Be Gluten-Free When You're Really Not, or gluten intolerant.
When you're really not.
Google that. You'll see all these guys. He says, always make a really big deal out of blessing your food for a really long time and make it obvious so no one will eat until you're finished. And you don't have to do that. I mean, you can just slap a couple of symbols on. So I was eating in one of my favorite restaurants here years ago and by myself, and so I'm throwing some Reiki symbols. And there was a party going on upstairs, and this great big football player, straight looking guy, starched button down shirt, with a little longhorn, and he has a great big stuffed animal under his arm, and he is looking at me in horror because he's seeing my hand wave above my food. And I look up and we make eye contact, and he says, "This ain't my teddy bear," and turns around and walked out. I thought I was busted. He thought he was busted. Yeah. So, put it out there. Put it everywhere. The symbols, you can just throw them on everything, and you're just like, Johnny Appleseed. You're spreading Reiki. And it ups the vibrational level of everything. So, it helps the collective as well. So, I am going to have to wade into the Austin traffic in a little bit. So if there are any other questions, if anybody has any questions about the course, they can call me. They can go to the website and find my email address.
Can you give us the contact information one more time, Michael?
It's 512-879-7299. That's 512. Michael Abedin, Abedin at yahoo.com or austinallnatural.com. And we do have a class coming up on the 24th through the 26th. Talking about maybe doing one here, maybe doing one with your event coming up in August.
That would be great, yeah.
Got a guy who wants me to come out to Costa Rica and do Blue Zone retreat out there. Well, let me think about that for a second. Okay.
And where around town can people pick up your magazine?
Whole Foods, Central Market. It's free publication. We're the one with the really cool looking full color glossy covers. Restaurants, yoga schools, holistic practitioners, coffee shops. It's pretty hard not to find us. Whole Foods and Central Market are our big drops. So any place where you see a rack of free magazines out there, and get the one that has the crazy wild psychedelic or whatever cover on it. Our June cover is I guess I can give a preview. It's like an old fashioned jukebox, like a 10th anniversary in neon, like a top 10 hits kind of thing. So we've done some things from past issues on that. So
awesome.
And if anybody's interested in being in the magazine, by all means, call me, because we do a partnership thing. I'm a really good hands-on editor, and I really help people a lot with writing their articles. I tell them, just give me what you got, and when I get done, you'll be tickled pink what a good writer you are.
I love that.
Yeah, we try to
that's great.
keep it a quality, interesting thing. We took a blood oath early on that we would never, ever, 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 ever have a cover with happy, holistic people running through a field with their arms over their head.
That's the one thing you're not allowed.
I'm sorry. That's the one don't. And we won't put it in. You can send an ad with that. We won't do that to illustrate an article. The closest we ever came was a dancer, and she had her arms straight out to the side. And I said, okay, we'll let that one go.
That one slide.
That's in context.
Yeah.
So we've tried to avoid cliches and be a little edgy, have a little fun with what we do. I usually write a letter from the editor and an intro to the magazine at the end of a deadline run, and sometimes after I've been up all night. So that's when it gets kind of, channeling Hunter Thompson kind of. I read it later and go, wonder what I meant by that. Or, oh, damn, that was pretty good.
Yep.
So just have fun with it. So, I told you the one bad holistic joke. How many holistic practitioners, how many gurus does it take to change a light bulb?
This is different from the holistic one.
How many gurus? Just one. You knew that part.
Sure, yeah.
Just
one. Just one.
To hold the light bulb while the rest of the world rotates around. But that's not the big finish joke. Because after I talked to her, I thought, well, I really don't know any good holistic. So I stopped at a bookstore here because my girlfriend said, would you look for this book? And I was driving by Half Price Books.
Okay.
Went back to the metaphysical section, look, and there's a little skinny book that says, Why is God Laughing? By Deepak Chopra.
Okay.
I never heard of the book.
Yeah.
So I opened it up and I swear to you, the first thing I see is a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could call it metaphysical or spiritual, or holistic, but it is spiritual because it has God and prayer in it. So,
okay.
You want to hear it?
Yeah. Let's hear it, Michael. Absolutely.
An atheist is swimming in the ocean one day, and he looks up and he sees the unmistakable fin of a great white shark coming right at him. And he cries out, "Oh God, save me!" Everything stops. Shark stops, wave stops. The clouds part, a light shines down on him, and a voice says, "Why would I save you? You don't even believe in me." The atheist says, "Well, if you can get that shark to believe in you, I might believe in you too." God said, "It's a deal." The light goes back up, clouds come together, waves start again. Here comes the shark, and right as it gets to him, it stops, stands straight up on the water on its tail, folds its little fins in front of its chest, bows its head, and begins to pray. And the atheist thinks, man, that's a bona fide miracle. Maybe there is a God. Maybe I should believe in him. And he listens a little more closely to the shark, who's saying, "Oh, Lord, we give thanks for the food we are about to receive." So sometimes you have to be, it's a tricky thing, what you ask for. You never can tell how it's going to come back to you. So are we approaching a break?
Oh, we got another minute or so.
Okay. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all it's not you all in Texas. Just so when y'all come here, it's y'all. It's y'all. One word.
It is y'all.
The Y apostrophe?
It's Y apostrophe ALL.
Okay.
And it is first person plural. It's y'all. Right.
First person plural.
Yeah. How y'all doing?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Even if it's only one person, you can still use that.
Yeah, you can still use it. How y'all doing?
Yeah.
What was the other one? We went over the street names, but how y'all doing? And the rest of it, fixin' to.
Fixin' to. Okay.
Yeah, that one throws a lot of people. Fixing
I've
to
heard that one.
It's one word. Fixing
It's
to.
a one word. Okay.
Yeah, and it means I'm preparing to do something. I'm
Makes
getting.
sense.
I'm getting.
We're fixing to go to a break here in about.
And I'm fixing to wade back through traffic. So I'd really like to thank y'all for having me in
Well,
here
it's
today.
been a pleasure,
It's just
Michael.
Been a time
It's been a
of my
wonderful
life.
guest,
Yeah.
and appreciate all the knowledge.
Oh, you bet. I'd love to come back.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll plan on it. So, and love to do some stuff with the show with you, with the Austin Universe.
Outstanding. Thanks so much.
Thanks
y'all
for
have.
coming on.
Thanks so much, Michael.
You bet.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
All right, we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior. This is Dr. Elisa. We are coming up on our last segment here of our show, and I just wanted to add my little 2 cents in and maybe ask Andrew and Ryan also about their thoughts on just energetic practice in general and how you go through your life. Because we've been talking a lot about Reiki and Qigong and energy and tapping into the flow. And I just wanted to add my little my thoughts. It's funny because every morning when I wake up, I also have a little practice I like to go through, and it differs on certain days. But for the most part, if I don't do my grounding energetic practice, I just don't feel like I'm having a flowing day. And it's kind of like once you cultivate your chi or your energy to a certain point, when you stop doing it, you notice that things just don't go as smoothly. So I really... And Andrew knows because he always sees me get up in the morning and do my little thing. But, everybody has days that they miss. Like today, for instance, it's 5 a.m. and I might just go back to sleep after the radio show. And then, I'll wake up at 11 and everyone will be hungry. I might not do my pranayams and my yoga. But normally I do. And I definitely feel very much more, I don't want to say psychically connected, but I guess I can say that. I feel more intuitive on the days that I stop and clear my mind and meditate, even if it's just for 10 or 20 minutes. Doing my Tai Chi or my Qigong in the morning helps me to feel more in my body. Because I think sometimes we go around in our days and we're not feeling our bodies. So that's one thing that's seemingly indispensable, at least to me, about physical practice of some sort is it makes you more self-aware of whatever it is you're feeling, whether it's pain, pleasure, negative emotions, positive emotions. If you're not taking the time to connect and really feel your body, you may not know how you're feeling emotionally either in the day. So that's also a big thing for me is just doing my Qigong and my breathing practice to connect and just kind of tap into how I'm feeling. Ryan, what do you like to do on a daily basis or semi-daily basis to kind of get you into your flow?
Yeah, I definitely love the idea that Michael brought up about doing a little bit each day. And I actually have written down, I actually do similar things when my goal when I wake up, the first thing I do is just do some simple pranayama, some of the various ones. And ideally, doing it like sitting up, but sometimes you're just like in bed and you're like, sometimes you don't want to get out of bed. So even just doing some simple breathing there. And then from there, just going into, I guess, like positive affirmation and visualization kind of stuff about how you want your day to go.
Yeah.
And and it's really weird sometimes because there definitely have been times where, you don't always know how things are going to go and you can kind of visualize it going one way. And there are times where it'll work out exactly like that. And you're just like, wow, you're able to see everything just unfold exactly perfectly the way you wanted to. And then it ends up happening. And it's just like pretty amazing to see, how maybe what you have and what you do in the morning and just throughout the day, the mindfulness can affect what's actually going on around you and, whether or not things work out the way you want them to, just being mindful of the actual fact of, what's going on. And from there, just like a basic meditation where just like blank out and kind of let the thoughts just flow through you, I guess, and just kind of, just chill out for a little bit before you really get going and everything. And I definitely love doing that stuff. And then if I have a little more time, I definitely like doing, just spend a couple minutes if I'm tight anywhere, a couple quick yoga poses or I like some of the thigh squeezing that you guys, you and David taught me, and it's great in your Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior book. But yeah, I noticed just doing a little bit every day helps so much. And a lot of the clients I work with for personal training that have, back injuries, or that I work with for yoga, trying to get more flexible, the ones that have success are the ones that come back. Say if I train them once, twice, a couple times a week, they're the ones who are consistently doing it on the days where I'm not with them. They're like, yeah, I was at home, I watched a movie yesterday, and I did the stretches you told me to, or I was at my son's baseball game, and, all the other mothers were sitting there, and I was doing, a stretch during that, and I feel really good now. And I think it's those little things that really sets it apart. A lot of people will go to the gym and they'll work out, and they'll either do like their yoga a couple times a week, or they're lifting their weights. But I think those people that really spend the 5 to 10 minutes, whether it's in the morning, at night, at the office, those are the ones that I think long term end up having the most success.
Yeah, I think that's a really key thing, is just looking for moments in your day where you do have space, for 5 minutes to either meditate or stretch. Or like maybe instead of take the elevator, you take 5 or 6 flights of stairs, just to get a little exercise. And there's so many ways that you can fit holistic life into your day if you just look for them.
Absolutely. And another thing I love too, I love my little cat naps where 20 minutes probably is good enough. And you can do probably even anywhere from 10 to, you don't want to do too much more, and, it'll put you in different modes of sleep. But, if especially there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, or I have a break during the day, and, I've just had a lot of meetings or classes when I'm in school in the morning, and I know I have to go teach a yoga class, or I want to do something later, and you're kind of at that point where you're just exhausted, just being able to just put everything aside and just hit your alarm, I'm doing nothing for 20 minutes and just lay there. Yeah. And usually you wake up and you just feel so amazing. It's like that second burst of energy. And I don't think enough people really do that. They think they're so busy, but I think their productivity is significantly lacking because they let all that energy build up and they never get a chance to just really just relax and be at peace. And then boom, you can switch back into whatever mode you were in before that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm a big fan of naps. And I actually find that when I take naps throughout the day, I typically have more lucid dream type experiences, presumably because it's a lighter state of sleep. So I'm not going into a deep REM sleep. I'm more semi-conscious. And as I'm fading off into sleep and as I'm returning to waking consciousness, I find that able to have those, I believe it's described as the hypnagogic state. It's slightly in between waking and dreaming.
Yep.
And I know there was his name's going to evade me right now, but it was someone who was very much into studying this state of consciousness. He would go to sleep sitting in a wooden chair, holding a spoon in his right hand and laying his arm on the armrest. And as he heard the spoon hit the ground, he became aware that he was falling into that state because his body was operating involuntarily at that point. And I thought that was fascinating that he devised a method to where he could consciously know, okay, I'm going to this place, while he was actually already there, but not fully aware of it.
So that was his method of going into the lucid state, basically.
What was his method of reminding himself that he was going into the lucid state?
Right. And so because you can kind of go into it and then you get lost and you fall asleep and you don't remember it. But,
yeah. And presumably he'd done that many times and decided, hey, I want to know when I'm there.
Yeah. And so you can really experience it and come out of the experience being able to describe in detail what you saw, did, felt.
Exactly. And yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. And I just wanted to share my own little tidbit on the topic, I guess. And, before playing poker, it's important to be in this state of flow that we're discussing. And, it really resonated with me what Michael said about when you're doing your Qigong or your Reiki or Tai Chi or what have you, you're kind of just putting yourself in that coherent vibrational frequency so that you can apply it to anything you do. And I've really realized that before I play poker, whether it's a meditation or a yoga asana or Tai Chi or Qigong, it's just kind of important that I'm present and that flow is there. So it might show through just having a conversation with someone, just writing a simple text message. If the words roll off my thumbs easily, then I know that I'm kind of there and I'm present.
Yeah.
And if I'm really struggling to do something simple, I know that there's some blockage. And it really does feel that, to me, those core spiritual practices are very effective in mitigating those factors or obstacles that block you from being in that state of flow. But I do feel that you can kind of identify whether or not you're there through almost any activity.
That's a great point. And that's one of the reasons why I love Tai Chi so much and Qigong also. But it teaches you how to get into flow. And it's funny because I'll be practicing, and about, I would say every time, about half, like I would say a quarter of the way into the second set of my form, it's like something clicks in and I'm like, there it is. There's the flow. And it's that same thing that comes through with any artistic endeavor or martial arts. You know it when you're there.
Yeah. When you're there, you definitely know it. And it's kind of unforgettable. I guess it's because you've been there before, so it's familiar.
Yeah.
That's all very true. There's actually something I was going to share with you privately, Andrew, because we had gotten into this before with some of the like OBE dreaming and the lucid dreaming. But what I actually have found recently that works really, really well is if you have your alarm clock, and if you can get yourself into that middle place for sleep, and then you just have the alarm go off and you just keep hitting the snooze button, basically every 10 minutes, it keeps bringing me in and out. It's absolutely amazing what I've been able to do recently with that. Just by, even for like an hour, I'll just keep it. Every 10 minutes, it just goes off. So that's another cool technique to try if you have some time, I guess.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot in about 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's been great. Again, another beautiful show with you guys. Have a wonderful time in Australia.
Yeah,
thanks,
so much,
Ryan. You too. And have a great week, everyone. Thanks for
everyone.
listening.
Stay tuned.